Welcome to Canadian Biker TV, brought to you by Ducati North America and the Ducati Dealers of Canada.
Welcome to Canadian Biker TV. I'm Connie Mitchell. On this week's show, we test drive the Suzuki TL1000R. Suzuki Canada's Nathan NASLAN joins us and gives us a technical look at the bike as well. Plus, the man, or rather perhaps the legend, TREV DEELEY, joins us. Trev's been working on a bike called the Trevster, shares with us the experience of developing that motorcycle. And speaking of developing motorcycles, Diamond Dave and the Billet Bullet. All this and a lot more, but first, here's a tip. Back with our old friend Stu, this time talking about accessories. Stu, if I got a bike and I got to ride into work each day, say, and I've got the briefcase, I've got maybe my purse, saddlebags. I know there are 1,000,001 options. What kind of things do I need to consider?
There's a lot of things to look for in a saddlebag. First thing that I'd look for is something, size, of course. The first thing.
Size matters? You're kidding.
Yeah. And then I'd always look for a saddlebag that's reinforced with a bar to keep the bag from falling inwards, and something with a hard base to stop it from sagging in the bottom. A bag like this is an excellent bag for carrying just about anything you want.
Now that's key. I would assume they all have this reinforcement. But
some do, some don't, and they really look poor after 5 months if they don't.
Good point. You may start out thinking you're looking pretty sharp, but a few wet days and a few heavy loads is sagging. Okay, thanks. That's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Check the construction, check the quality, look for reinforcements. Thanks. This week, we test drove the new Suzuki TL1000R. Let's see how John THRELFALL and his team rated it.
Make no mistake about it, Suzuki's TL1000R is a full-on sport bike that also serves the factory as a platform for world superbike competition. The TL hits the ground running with fuel injection, a twin-spar aluminum frame, and a claimed 138 horsepower packed into a 996cc V-twin engine. There's lots of competition out there this year for bikes in the same class, including Suzuki's own GSXR 750. So it should be interesting to see how the TL fares in the marketplace in the coming months. But if riders can agree they like their power delivered straight up, from dead stop to red line, the TL should be a success on the showroom floor. Emphasis was placed on a reduced frontal area, and to that end, the TL has a wind tunnel tested design. From the front fender to the wasp-like midsection, the TL features design elements that are all about aerodynamics. The fuel tank has been carved out to make room for those parts of the rider that meet the bike. The fairing is V-shaped to smooth out the airflow around the rider's hands and arms. And the windshield fairing combination is taller in the middle to send air over the top of the rider's head. The TL's 996cc engine is the most powerful V-twin Suzuki has ever built. The factory has used pages from the racetrack in the design of the engine. Light connecting rods, forged pistons, radical timing, 4 valves per cylinder, all these elements and more are brought together in this engine that's designed for performance and torque. The TL's dual overhead cam engine features 4 valves per cylinder. It's liquid cooled, fuel injected, and has a red line set at 11,000 RPM. It comes with an 11:1 compression ratio and a 6-speed transmission. The engine inhales through dual ram air ducts, feeding a huge air box. The TL features radial tires and cast wheels. And to help scrub off speed, this 434-pound motorcycle comes equipped with 6-piston front brake calipers set on floating mount 320mm discs. The rear brake is a 220mm disc and a 2-piston caliper. The TL's aluminum frame features 2 main spars, a cast steering head, and a cast swing arm pivot. The swing arm is connected to a rotary damper that maintains constant damping across a wide range of operating temperatures. The inverted front forks are held by aluminum alloy triple clamps with an aluminum alloy steering stem. The inner fork tunes are 43 millimeter in diameter and feature externally adjustable spring preload and rebound damping. And now we'll hand the bike over to Jamie, who will put it through its paces on the track. The problem with many fuel-injected bikes is that they require precise throttle control in order to avoid pitching and jerking in mid-corners. Although the rewards are definitely there for riders who can master the art of controlled throttle inputs, that kind of throttle sensitivity can be an annoyance. Happily, the TL does not seem stricken by those symptoms. The bike exhibits a mannerly approach to acceleration and deceleration. Although acceleration is rapid, it takes place in a very linear fashion. The 90-degree V-twin is relatively vibration-free. The most surprising aspect of this racetrack-bound bike is that it seems to deliver both bottom-end torque and peak power. The TL has quick, responsive steering and a light heft for such a muscular bike. The TL likes the rider to be an active participant as opposed to being a firmly planted lug on the seat. The low handlebars, conservative rake, and the rider's position over the front end all create a bike that is primed for you to move around on the foot pegs and become part of the handling process. The TL will allow aggressive braking without asking that a penalty be paid. And even trailing a bike into a corner doesn't seriously impact the rider's ability to maintain control. The straight-ahead surge of power felt when you turn the throttle doesn't translate into a nasty, twitching, bucking bronco sensation. Because of the high pegs and general close-coupled riding position, this can't be considered your bike of choice for touring. But it's not billed as such. This is an aggressive sport bike that wants an experienced rider capable of handling the many exciting performance extras. The TL1000R has a nice heft, is responsive to steering inputs, and is a hoot for people who like to put body language into their riding experience. On a scale of 1 to 10, we rate the TL 8.5 in the handling department. A big bottom-end push and a steady climb to the top of the power curve are the reasons we give the TL 8 for performance. The TL is beautifully slim and aerodynamically pleasing. There are few flaws to its fit and finish, so we also give it an 8 for style. Canadian Biker TV rates Suzuki's TL1000R 24.5 out of 30.
To subscribe to Canadian Biker Magazine, please call 1-800-667-5667.
Welcome back. We now meet a man by the name of TREV DEELEY. TREV's been working on a custom motorcycle for the past few years and has affectionately and appropriately named it the TREVster. I want you to meet someone very, very special. This man was introduced to me as the man who single-handedly brought Harley-Davidson back from the near dead decades ago. Mr. TREV DEELEY. TREV, it's a pleasure to have you on Canadian Biker TV.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's so nice to meet you, sir. I mean, not only have you done so much for the world of motorcycles, but just everybody talks about you like you're like a god.
Yeah,
you're like
sure.
a god, Mr. DEELEY.
How much did they pay you to say that?
This is a beautiful bike. I can't believe you're letting us look at your baby. What's the story behind this?
Well, the story of this bike is it's something new. It's something that I think Harley-Davidson should be building. It's based on a model we call the Sportster, and we had the frame made in the United States, and everything else we made ourselves or used genuine Harley parts. The engine is out of a 1998 Buell. It's what they call a White Lightning engine. It's 101 horsepower. It's rubber mounted, which all Harley Sportsters are rigid mounted. So at 100 miles an hour, this motorcycle is just as smooth as it is right now.
Wow.
We made the tank, the console, the instrumentation. This is all billet stuff that we made in the store. Mike Roland and John Mackey were the two that actually did the work. They didn't like doing it, but they enjoyed it. But the lashes they got on their back from me when I was trying to tell them what I wanted were not totally appreciated. We had to manufacture our own exhaust pipes, which was a big job. We've mounted all the controls on the frame, whereas in a standard Sportster, they're on the engine. This engine vibrates at low speed, so we thought that was a good idea. We made the front fender, the rear fender, well, just about everything you can think of. But it is, an honest to gosh, it's a beautiful motorcycle.
Is it,
especially
so
to
it's
ride.
a one of a kind. There's just this one.
This is it.
But it's a sort of a vision you have of what is possible.
Yeah, I've had the vision for 15 years, and I've been talking to Harley for 15 years. My vision has come to reality. Theirs hasn't come out of the egg yet.
Have they heard about this? Have they seen this?
Yes, they've seen it. They've been up looking at it, and they've ridden it.
And? What did they give you one of these like a big brother does? You know, your big brother, you do something really great, but your big brother can't like tell you it's really great, and he just sort of goes, yeah,
well, I've helped,
all right.
I've helped Harley on a couple
that?
of other designs. The Dynaglide, for instance, I was instrumental, not instrumental, but I helped with that design. And this is one that's very important to me. They do like it.
Good.
Whether they ever do anything about it, I have no idea.
They let you know that they think it's a fine design
Yes,
and a fine bike.
Joyce and I spend 3 or 4 months a year in Indian Wells, California. And that's where I put the 1,800 miles on it in the last 2 months. And 2 engineers came out and rode it and looked at it from Milwaukee. But who knows what happens from there on.
But you've honored yourself. It's just a beautiful piece of work. Joyce is, of course, I want to say Joyce is his lovely bride, whom he now has more time to spend with, now that you're not helicoptering to work every day. Flies a helicopter, you got the TREV DEELEY Motorcycle Museum. It just goes on and on what you've done. It's nice to know now that you're taking some time with your lovely bride.
Well, it's about time. At 78, you're allowed to stay in bed till 7 in the morning.
I think you should. Exactly. It's a gorgeous bike. Why number 22?
I used to race for Harley professionally in the U.S., and my national number was 22. And John and Mike put that number on there. I didn't know what was going on, but...
Now, you didn't do the paint yourself.
Personally?
Yes.
No.
But how did you get your signature?
I signed that personally.
You actually did paint your signature.
I learned to write my name when I was about 6 years old. So I was able to carry and remember.
So tell me, though, the process. You didn't have to paint this with a paintbrush on here? They transferred it?
No, they transferred it. I don't know how they do it.
Right.
Just like these, I just put these decals on here that's put on kind of a joke, and I call it the Trevster rather than the Sportster.
I like it.
And they made those up in the store. They turned out great.
It's a great bike. If you had to retail this, what price range would it need to be in to cover the costs and make that almighty profit, Trev? What ballpark would we be in?
If I put $40,000 on it, there wouldn't be any profit. Because it's so time-consuming.
I guess.
You know, you start with nothing, and as you go along, you produce. Like, we had a heck of a job making these tanks. They looked great, and they looked like they just came out of a box, but they didn't. They were made in the store, and it takes hours and hours to do those things. But once it would go into production, it would sell for the same prices they're selling for now.
The cost would come down, of course.
Yeah.
Well, it's a beautiful bike. We'll look for it. Look for the Trevster in a Harley store near you sometime soon. You take care of yourself.
Come on.
It's so good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Trevor.
Thank you.
Thanks for being with us today. The Trevster. It's a fascinating man. Remember at the beginning of the show I told you about the billet bullet? Well, now you get to meet Diamond Dave and find out exactly what that means. Welcome to the billet bullet. Isn't that a piece of work? A piece of work by Diamond Dave. Diamond Dave, what's it called? The whole company is Diamond Dave.
Custom Cycles Inc.
With the ink on the end.
With the ink on the end, just in case it needs it.
That's tax purposes.
That's legalities, yes.
How did you get into this stuff, Dave?
I've been doing this since 1969, and in 1969 I got my first Harley-Davidson. It was a 1942 WLA Army model 45 cubic inch bike. I chopped that, and at that time, back in '69, there was nothing available for motorcycles. Anything that you wanted to do, you had to make. And so I started that, and I kept going, and the love of it continued on and evolved to the business that it is today.
And it's changed so much, hasn't it? Because nowadays you can get those parts, but somebody like you who has the ability to make them, I mean, I guess that gives you the best of both worlds. You can either make your own or use some of the stuff that's out there. Do you have a preference?
Well, that is correct. It's been about the past 5 years mainly that what's happened is the manufacturers, there's been a lot of people that have gotten into the industry with some wonderful ideas. They're very, very innovative today, you know, and they've come out with products that are absolutely wonderful to use. But they still can't cover it all. And there's and still within it, there may be something that you like, but it's not quite it. And there's other things that there's nothing available at all. And what we do is that we have a full machine shop facility, full engine room, you know, full suspension room. And what we do is, like, this is an example, is that we machine the pieces that we want on it. If something isn't there that we don't like, that's what we do. But when you machine product like this, if you do a whole bike, like as an example, do a bunch of this, what happens is when they're hand done, the price starts going up, okay? And when you do it, when you have multiples of, you know, when it's mass produced, the price goes down.
When you use the pre-produced stuff, do you really feel like you're compromising the job that you're doing?
Depending on the job, you are correct. I don't like to use other people's products because they can be, you know, there's nothing extremely unique with it. All of a sudden it's a style and it becomes a fad, and then all of a sudden you can see that, you know, on 100,000 motorcycles. The reality is that anybody that goes into the upper end customs, they want to be unique. They want something that is completely different.
Well, this client, for instance, the Billet Bullet, the owner of the Billet Bullet, yes. You were telling me off camera, it's been a sort of a labor of love over a period of time, bit by bit by bit, and you've been building this from the ground up.
Yes, absolutely correct. He started with an existing chassis in 1990, and what he's been doing is that he's had, you know, he's worked with us and he's had these different ideas of things that he'd like to do. And what we've done is it's an evolution on this motorcycle, because every year it changes. Next year will be completely different again. He's finally at the level that he's very comfortable with this, that it's you know, it's capable of being shown right now. You know, we have a lot of customers that we build bikes for and they're absolutely exquisite, but they choose not to show them, and that is, we have the respect for that we never say anything about it. They say it's their personal piece of work of art and they don't show it. Like the person that may have a Rembrandt on their wall, they don't want other people looking at it. So it's the same type of thing. Whereas we have other people, they're proud of their work and hey, no problem, they like to show it off.
Billet Bullet, for those of us who are the uninitiated, all these shavings down here and these blocks, those are billets.
Yeah, that's billet aluminum. That's pure aluminum of certain grades. You could call it aircraft aluminum to make it easier. And what you do is a lot of the components start from big blocks of aluminum, and we keep whittling at it, just like the Japanese artist that has the piece of jade and he sees the dragon inside. To everybody else, all they see is a piece of jade. You know, so we do the same thing. We see big blocks of aluminum, but we see our art inside of it, and that's what we do. We're just freeing the art out of the aluminum, that's all.
That's great stuff. You really are. I'm just thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled to meet so many artisans, and it's so inspirational to realize that art and creativity it can be found in so many places. You know, you can find creativity in a kitchen. A chef is creative. Yes. You can be creative in whatever your work is, and to see such incredible skill be put into the motorcycle, in the world of motorcycling, is really...
Yes, it sure has come a long ways today, so it's a great thing.
Thanks for being with us, Dave. Beautiful work. Keep it up.
Yes, thank you very much.
Welcome back. Everything you ever wanted to know about Suzuki's TL1000R? Suzuki Canada's Nathan NASLAN explains it all.
When Suzuki Motor Corporation designed the TL1000R, they wanted to have a bike that would set new performance standards and also have the potential to win superbike races. For superbike racing, in the various countries around the world, the bikes have to be developed from a street bike base. So the TL1000R like this is a fully street legal motorcycle, but then it has this potential to go into the fierce superbiking arena, and you know, we're looking at to win races. With this TL1000R, Suzuki has gone to an extruded aluminum twin spar frame, and with big heavy cast sections in here as well, to give it great rigidity for racetrack conditions and very aggressive sport riding. Obviously, when you're looking for a performance sport bike and going into racing bike trim, you want it to be lightweight. The bike only weighs 434 pounds. You can see that they've got a heavily braced aluminum swing arm here to improve the handling characteristics and maintain the control when you're in very race-like conditions or on the track itself. Stopping obviously is very important in racing conditions, and this bike has been equipped with the 6-piston caliper brakes, similar to what the Suzuki GSX-R series are equipped with. So braking performance is staggering on this model. The spring here has been relocated to the back here, so it's easily accessible for setup. So you have easy access to spring preload that's adjustable, and the rotary damper is also fully adjustable. Because that's one of the things that anybody going racing is looking for, is a bike that is easy to set up and adjustable, so when a rider comes off the track you can set your suspension very quick and easy. The TL1000R is equipped with 52mm throttle bodies, and what's unique here too is that they have 2 injectors per cylinder, so we can get maximum horsepower out of it. The program for the ECU has been remapped for the TL1000R, again to stress the performance of this engine. The engine has a lot more radical cam timing. We've gone to forged pistons, which are very lightweight connecting rods, and the maximum output of this engine is at around 135 PS. With the higher horsepower output, we've gone to twin radiators up in the front here. So the engine with the high output obviously generates more heat, and the factory has made sure that we're going to maintain the performance by having the 2 radiators on this unit. In the racing version, when they put the whole race kit in, and there is a race kit available from the factory for this bike will have the potential to put out over 150 horsepower. With the race kit, you get a different programmable ECU, so you can do adjustments to the fuel injection system. There's different components available that you can make adjustments to the swing arm, your ride height, and your steering head. There's a whole list of parts from the factory that is going to make this bike very competitive in the superbike field. We are going to be campaigning a TL1000R in Canada this year with the race series up there in the superbike, along with a GSX-R 750 in superbike racing. So we'll have 2 Suzukis out there in the Canadian series this year.
Lately, have you noticed that the bike is maybe a little less stable than normal, or perhaps it's easier to turn in one direction than the other? It may be time for a wheel alignment. Roland joins us now to help us with some of the basics in hoping to achieve that.
Absolutely. Connie, it's really straightforward when it comes to wheel alignment on these vehicles. Simply a matter for the street rider of making sure that the notches on this side of the swing arm on the adjuster, and these are the notches back here, align with the notches on the other side. So we want to make sure that the wheel is basically straight in the swing arm. So as long as these notches, and you'll note there's, I think, 6 of them showing here, or 5 3/4. The other side should look exactly the same. It means that the wheel basically is aiming in exactly the right direction for maximum stability on the vehicle.
Are there any special tools required to do that, or are these just standard wrenches and tools that we'd have in our kit?
Standard wrenches. The kit probably won't have an axle nut remover.
We can pick that up at our local shop,
You
though?
betcha.
An axle nut remover.
That'd be correct. Big
Other
socket.
than that, we can get ourselves straightened out.
We're there.
Perfect. Thanks,
Excellent.
Roland.
Thank you.
Thanks for being with us on Canadian Biker TV. On upcoming episodes, we're going to visit the Shannonville Motorsport Park. It's located just outside of Toronto, Canada, where we will meet the Wojcik sisters. Christine and Rosemary are one of the top sidecar motorcycle racing teams in North America. We'll have more tips for you on motorcycling and a whole lot more. But until then, safe riding. We'll see you next time on Canadian Biker TV.